Most people think Britain's biggest robbery involved a vault full of diamonds, or an underground tunnel, or masked men with military rifles storming a bank. They're wrong. The largest cash heist in UK history didn't happen in the shadows. It happened in a quiet market town at a secure depot under 24-hour surveillance with £53 million inside. But the twist, it wasn't brute force that got them in. It was charm, deception, and a mistake no one talks about. A small breach in a decades-old security protocol that had never been exploited. Until one February night in 2006. What happens when the people who rob you already know how your system works? What happens when the man holding the keys is also fearing for his family's life? This isn't just a robbery, it's a blueprint of manipulation, of how Britain's most secure cash depot was taken down without a single alarm being tripped. And it starts, not with guns or ski masks, but with a fake police car, a midnight traffic stop, and a manager who never made it home. Welcome to Crime Pulse. Today, we're diving deep into two of the most calculated, ruthless, and high-stakes robberies in UK history. Two crimes, two crews, two inside jobs that expose the cracks in Britain's most trusted institutions. If you're into real stories, high tension, and the forensic breakdown of how it all unraveled, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss a single twist. Let's get into it. Lee Murray, a 31-year-old cage fighter, isn't your typical crook. Born in South London, he's built like a bulldog, with a rap sheet for robbery and a hunger for glory. In the shadows of his athletic fame, Murray built something else: connections. His crew, a mix of ex-bouncers, career criminals, and nightclub enforcers. Men who knew how to inflict pain, move quietly, and vanish. Among them was Paul Allen, a gym buddy and lifelong friend. And most crucially, a corrupt insider, already working at Securitas. But here's what most people miss. This wasn't desperation. This was design. By 2005, he's done with cage matches. Too many broken knuckles, too little cash. Kent's Securitas Depot, a fortress of banknotes, catches his eye. But why a cash depot? Unlike banks, it's low profile, handling millions for ATMs and shops, guarded by routine, not SWAT teams. Murray recruits a crew: Sean Lupton, a car thief with a knack for vans; Paul Allen, a loyal mate with a weak spine; and Michelle Hogg, a makeup artist who crafts disguises. The plan's audacity stuns. They'll pose as police, kidnap the depot manager's family, and force the vault open. But to rob it, they needed more than guns. They needed structure, intel, access. That's where inside knowledge came into play. And the man who would provide it wasn't some hardened criminal. He was a quiet, middle-aged supervisor named Emir Hisanaj, a man with just enough access and just enough motive. What drives a fighter to trade punches for heists? And how does a ragtag crew plan to outsmart Kent's finest? February 21st, 2006. At 6:30 p.m., Colin Dixon, the manager of the Securitas Depot, is driving home from work in his silver Nissan Almera. Blue lights flash behind him. A marked police car signals him to pull over. Two officers step out. Uniforms, caps, stab vests. One of them carries a warrant card. Colin complies, but these aren't police. They're part of Murray's crew, wearing authentic Met Police uniforms sourced through black market contacts. One impersonator is Jetmir Bukpapa, an Albanian gangster fluent in intimidation. Colin is told there's been an issue with identity fraud. He's calmly handcuffed and escorted into the back of the police vehicle. Then he sees the gun. At the same time, 25 miles away, Colin's wife Lynn and their 8-year-old son are facing their own nightmare. A separate team, posing as officers, knocks at their door. They claim Colin's been in an accident. Lynn and the boy are taken, at gunpoint, to a safe house in Herne Bay, a location rented weeks earlier under a fake name. The message is clear. Colin does exactly what they say, or his family dies. He's driven to the same house. His wife and child are shown to him, alive but terrified. Why target a family? It's leverage. Colin's keys and codes unlock £53 million. At 1 a.m., they suit up. Colin is placed in a white van, flanked by his captors, heading to Securitas. The depot's entire multi-million-pound operation is about to open for the day. The staff inside have no idea what's coming, and Colin Dixon, their trusted manager, is about to unlock the gates, for Britain's biggest robbery. How does a gang fake a police sting so flawlessly? And what's the first sign their plan's too perfect? 1 a.m., February 22nd, 2006. Colin Dixon arrives at the Securitas Depot, flanked by two armed men. He smiles at the intercom, looks relaxed. Routine procedure. The night shift sees nothing unusual. They buzz the van through. Inside the van, 6 masked men, armed with handguns, a pump-action shotgun, and a 9mm submachine gun. They burst out. Seconds in, the depot is under control. 16 staff members are rounded up at gunpoint, hands zip-tied, phones confiscated. They're locked in metal cages meant to store cash. The crew moves with precision. They know where the cameras are. They know where the money is. Thanks to Heisenaj, the inside man whose spy footage revealed the vault's layout weeks earlier. They expect £20 million, but the cages overflow. 1,500 kilograms of banknotes, £53 million, enough to fill a 7.5-ton van. Lupton, the wheelman, laughs, stuffing cash into bags. Hogg's prosthetic masks, crafted in her flat, keep their faces hidden. Why so much cash? The depot's a hub for Bank of England notes, prepped for nationwide ATMs. The gang works fast, 90 minutes, loading the van to its springs. No alarms, no cops. Heisenaj's intel is gold. By 2:45 a.m., they're gone. 3 vehicles, including a white Renault van registered to a fake company, pull out into the Kent night. Till this day, this is the largest cash heist in British history. Is this the perfect crime? Or does their greed hide a fatal flaw? And how do you disappear with £53 million when the entire country is looking for you? Dawn, February 22nd, 2006. The Securitas van, groaning under £53 million, vanishes into Kent's backroads. The gang first heads to a farm in Welling, southeast London, a rented unit in Elderden Farm, secured weeks earlier under a fake name. This is the drop site. The depot van is ditched and burned. Another vehicle takes over. But with that much bulk, movement is clumsy. The cash, low denomination, mostly used, takes up nearly a ton in weight. They can't stash it all. Some is buried, some goes to lockups, some is simply lost. Murray's crew scatters, some to London, others to stash points in Maidstone. Murray, with Paul Allen, plans to flee to Morocco, where no extradition treaty shields them. Cash is laundered through car washes and kebab shops, Heisenaj's contacts greasing the wheels. Kent police, blindsided, find the burned van, but no prints. A tipster whispers of a cage fighter's boasts in a Catford pub. Who's talking? And how does a fortune slip through a gang's fingers? Kent police launch Operation Hall, a 100-officer manhunt. The first cracks appear within days. Michelle Hogg, the makeup artist turned getaway driver, had rented the depot hideout van using a fake ID. But the paperwork? Sloppy. The ID links back to a hotel booking in her real name. Surveillance catches her returning makeup gear to a shop the day after the heist. She folds quickly. Then, Elderden Farm. Police raid the rural unit and find bins, crates, gloves, zip ties, all matching the depot evidence. DNA on the gloves links back to Paul Allen. In another lockup, £1.3 million in holdalls. Fingerprints on the bags? Allen's again. He's arrested at a flat in South London, hiding under a bed. Next up, Amir Heisenaj, the depot insider. At first he plays dumb, but detectives confront him with footage from inside the depot, secretly filmed using his belt buckle spy cam. He breaks, admits he filmed vaults, alarm panels, staff routines, names Lee Murray. Now police know the architect, but Murray is already gone, vanished just days after the heist. Destination, Morocco. Why Morocco? Because Murray's father is Moroccan, and under Moroccan law, citizens can't be extradited. As investigators chase suspects across the UK, the legal system hits its own wall. Too much press, too many risks. Jury tampering fears derail the trial. For the first time in over 400 years, the UK approves a trial by judge alone. Cost to taxpayers, £25 million, nearly half of what was stolen. But the biggest problem isn't the cost. It's that Lee Murray is now a ghost, hiding behind a loophole in international law. March 2006. Murray enjoys his freedom. He buys a villa, flaunts designer clothes, rolls in a £50,000 Porsche Cayenne. He throws cash in clubs, brags to locals. One night, a journalist photographs him shopping, dressed in designer gear. Murray, once a ghost, becomes a headline. The UK turns up the pressure. They push Morocco to act. And finally, in June 2006, local police make their move. Murray is arrested, but not for the robbery. He's caught with £2,000 in forged euros. Still, it's enough. They search his properties. They find £500,000 in cash, multiple passports, and the keys to a luxury hideout in Sale, outside Rabat. The evidence stacks. Morocco agrees he can't walk free. In 2007, Murray is charged in Moroccan court for his role in the Securitas Heist. He's convicted, sentence 10 years. The UK calls it light. Morocco doesn't budge. Then in 2010, things turn again. While behind bars, Murray is caught running a drug operation from prison. Moroccan judges hand down a new sentence, 25 years. The cage fighter, once poised to outwit an entire country, will now age behind bars, not in Britain, but thousands of miles from the vault he emptied. But questions still burn. Where is the rest of the money? Over £30 million remains missing. Was it laundered, buried, or burned? January 2008, Woolwich Crown Court. Lupton, Allen, Heisenaj, and 6 others face trial for robbery, kidnapping, and firearms. The prosecution unveils CCTV, DNA, and Hogg's testimony, painting Murray as the puppet master. Allen's pub boasts, recorded verbatim, echo in court. Lupton's van, tied by ANPR, links to the getaway. The defense claims coercion. Murray forced them, they say. But Hogg's masks, Heisenaj's blueprints, and £18 million recovered bury them. The trial lasted 6 months. Security was tight. Millions of recovered cash were presented in court, still bundled in Securitas Depot wrapping. Verdicts: Paul Allen, guilty, 18 years. Michelle Hogg, guilty, 13 years. Amir Heisenaj, guilty, 20 years, reduced for cooperation. Sean Lupton, never caught, still missing. Others receive sentences between 15 to 25 years. Justice lands, but £32 million stays gone. What's worth more, cash or freedom? And how does Tonbridge heal? The Securitas Heist, Britain's biggest, carves its name in gangland lore. £53 million snatched, a family terrorized, and a cage fighter's dream of glory. Murray rots in a Rabat cell, Lupton's caged in Kent, and the Dixon's silence screams of nightmares no money can erase. What's the takeaway, mate? Cash depots, not banks, are the soft underbelly, holding billions with lax guards. Insiders like Amir Heisenaj, leaking codes, are the Achilles heel. Kent's crime wave, up 15% by 2010, spawns copycats, stretching police budgets thin. Can tighter vaults stop the next score, or is greed woven into our bones? That £32 million ghost haunts us still. Now tell me, where do you think that missing cash hides? Drop your theory below, and let's piece this puzzle together. Your guess might spark the next clue. Stay sharp, because we're not done chasing Britain's boldest thieves. Walk with me into the Menzies World cargo robbery, where betrayal cuts deeper than any blade. Ready for the next twist? Click like, subscribe, and turn on notification. You're not ready for what comes next. Darren Brockwell, 37, isn't a gangster. He's a Menzies supervisor, an airside worker with 8 years at Heathrow, organizing lorries and planes. In 2003, he notices something. Bags of currency, Norwegian, Swedish, Australian, pile into the warehouse vault, often unguarded. Struggling with cocaine addiction and a crumbling marriage, Brockwell's jokes about stealing turn serious. Why does a worker with clearance dream of robbery? The vaults lack security, minimal cameras, no armed guards, makes millions feel within reach. Brockwell contacts John Toomey, a 61-year-old career criminal from Hampshire, his tattoos hinting at decades of heists. Toomey recruits Peter Blake, 57, a volatile Notting Hill robber. Barry Hibbard, 43, a QPR hooligan with a taste for violence. And Glenn Cameron, 50, Toomey's loyal brother-in-law. They plan for months, using Brockwell's manifest to target a £10 million shipment. What makes an insider trade trust for cash? And how does Toomey's crew stay one step ahead of the law? Every heist needs a blueprint, but this one was drawn in real time, through a camera lens. Before the robbers ever stepped foot inside Menzies World Cargo, they watched it for weeks. From nearby roads, from airport fences, from parked cars with tinted windows. They tracked van deliveries, noted staff routines, logged shift handovers, down to the minute. Surveillance wasn't just outside. The crew had eyes inside the warehouse too, through Darren Brockwell. He marked which days saw the largest shipments. He confirmed which safe held which currencies. He confirmed when the depot was at its weakest. One man, Darren Owen, cased the perimeter in a stolen van fitted with fake plates. He mapped escape routes and blind spots in the CCTV grid. Another man shadowed staff leaving shifts, testing how long it took for anyone to notice a missing person. July 2003. The Metropolitan Police's flying squad gets a tip. A Menzies heist is brewing. Undercover officers tail Brockwell, Toomey, and Hibbard, filming them in pubs and burger bars near Heathrow. They're seen with warehouse sketches, discussing vault keys. Brockwell, the linchpin, hands over shift schedules and a spare key's location. Why not arrest them now? Police want the gang red-handed, fearing a tip-off could spook them. By February 5th, 2004, the squad knows a raid's imminent. 6 men, including Toomey's crew, meet in a Hounslow safe house, packing high-vis jackets, woolen hats, and guns, a 9mm Heckler and Coke and handguns. They misread a flight manifest, expecting £10 million but targeting a £1.75 million delivery. The flying squad watches, cameras rolling, yet holds back. How does a watched gang slip through? And what's the cost of waiting too long? February 6th, 2004. It's just after 3 a.m. Most of Heathrow is asleep, but inside the Menzies World Cargo Depot, the night shift is in full motion, sorting, counting, preparing shipments for the morning's outbound flights. Then the silence breaks. 6 masked robbers, clad in fluorescent jackets and woolen hats, burst in, guns drawn. Toomey leads, barking orders, while Blake wields the Heckler and Coke. They round up 16 staff, zip-tying them face down. Brockwell, playing his part, feigns fear. The vault opens, but the haul disappoints. £1.75 million in mixed currencies. Australian, Swedish, Danish. Not the £10 million dreamed. Why the misstep? A misread manifest, Brockwell's error, slashes their take. David Westwood, a supervisor at the depot, sees a chance and bolts for the exit. One of the robbers, Peter Blake, fires at him. The shot misses. Blake tackles him to the ground. In the struggle, Westwood manages to tear off Blake's latex mask and hat. His resistance leaves Blake's DNA on both items, evidence that will later blow the case wide open. The gang doesn't stick around. They flee in a stolen white transit van and a gold Ford Focus, abandoning both vehicles later in Acton, West London. All of this happens while the flying squad is actively surveilling the crew, yet they miss the actual raid by hours. So how does a gang on the watch pull off a £1.75 million heist? And more importantly, how does all that cash vanish without a trace? February 7th, 2004. Dawn. The gang scatters. The stolen van and Ford Focus are dumped in Acton. Forensics find nothing useful. Clean getaway at first glance, but cracks form fast. CCTV shows Toomey and Hibbard checking into a Heathrow hotel with bulging bags. Later, Australian $50 notes from the hall surface at a Notting Hill currency exchange. Brockwell returns to work at Menzies, pretending nothing happened, but his cocaine habit and erratic behavior raise suspicions. Meanwhile, Peter Blake, rattled from being unmasked during the raid, lays low in Notting Hill. Police recover Blake's latex mask and hat, both laced with Westwood's DNA. Concrete evidence. Then comes the tip. Someone, possibly from inside the crew, names Toomey. A flying squad raid on a Hounslow safe house reveals depot maps, notes, and planning sketches. Brockwell breaks, trading loyalty for a deal. 7 years for everything he knows. He gives up the planning meetings, the vault keys, the comms, and Toomey's name. What makes a man flip? And how fast does a crew collapse when one cracks? Arrests come fast. Toomey is picked up in February 2004. Hibbard and Blake follow that summer. Cameron vanishes until 2007, when police find him in a Cornwall caravan park. Phone records tie Toomey to Brockwell before the raid. Cash, traced through West London shops, confirms some laundering. Then, the bigger problem hits. The trials start falling apart. Jurors report threats. One walks out claiming stress. Another trial halts when Toomey says he's having a heart attack. March 2005, Old Bailey. First trial collapses. 2007, second trial, a near conviction, 9-1 guilty, but a juror vanishes. 2008, third trial dies when the judge learns 2 jurors were offered cash and subtly threatened. 3 trials, 3 failures. Why can't the system hold? Jury tampering, a growing plague. The UK now spends £9 million a year to protect jurors from threats like these. So the Court of Appeal makes a radical decision. Scrap the jury. Under the 2003 Criminal Justice Act, Toomey, Blake, Hibbard, and Cameron become the first in England to face a criminal trial without a jury in over 400 years. January 2010, the trial begins. Mr. Justice Treacy presides alone. Then chaos again. Blake flees mid-trial, slipping out of the High Court. He's gone for a week before surrendering. Was it desperation or defiance? March 31st, 2010, verdict day. After 2 months, Judge Treacy delivers. Toomey, 61, 20 years, 6 months, mastermind. Blake, 57, life sentence, minimum 10 years, 9 months for firing at Westwood. Hibbard, 43, 17 years, 6 months. Cameron, 50, 15 years, all convicted of armed robbery and firearm offences. And Brockwell, the insider who flipped, walks free, disappears into witness protection. Total cost to prosecute, £25 million, 14 times more than they stole. Was justice done, or did it come at too high a price? The case set a precedent. By 2012, 2 more UK trials proceed without juries, citing similar tampering. But the backlash builds. Civil rights groups warn, remove juries and you chip away at public trust in justice. So here's the question. Can airports ever be truly secure? Or are vaults always going to invite greed? Toomey's crew, armed and masked, exposed airports as soft targets, where vaults aren't protected by steel, but by trust. Insiders like Brockwell proved that access, not firepower, is the real weapon. The £25 million prosecution, 14 times the amount stolen, wasn't just a trial. It was a warning. Jury tampering forced the first no-jury trial in over 4 centuries. And it wasn't the last. Today, £9 million a year is spent shielding jurors from gangs like this. What's the lesson, mate? Insiders are the spark. Trusted, trained, and underestimated. No jury trials may protect justice. But how long can liberty hold its ground when public trials fade behind closed doors? Heathrow tightened its security. Menzies never fully recovered. And the 2003 Criminal Justice Act, forged in theory, was hardened in this fire. As of 2025, it's been used 5 times. So now ask yourself, can justice survive without a jury? And more urgently, where is that missing £1.75 million? Drop your theory in the comments. Let's track it down together. And if you want more true crime that digs deeper and cuts sharper, like the video, subscribe and turn on notification. This is just the beginning.